All right, deep divers, buckle up, because we are going deep into, I guess you could call it round two of the Trump presidency.
The sequel nobody asked for.
The sequel, yeah, exactly.
The hits keep coming.
They really do, and we've got so much to cover. We've got news articles from January 21st and 22nd, 2025, and it is a lot to unpack.
It's certainly a lot to process.
Yeah, so why don't we just dive right in, and maybe we can start with these pardons, because it's pretty wild right out of the gate. He's pardoning pretty much everyone convicted in the January 6th riot.
Well, it's quite a statement to make on, I guess, what is his first day in office?
First day. That's a good way to put it, yeah. And his reasoning is that they were treated worse than murderers.
Those were his words?
I believe that's a direct quote, yes.
Yeah, so I guess, those people storming the Capitol, threatening lawmakers, just another Tuesday,
It does raise some questions about the message that sends. It really does. And you know what else raises questions? All of these people who are now walking free because of these pardons, we're talking about some pretty big names here.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about Stuart Rhodes, the leader of the Earth Keepers, who was sentenced to 18 years for seditious conspiracy.
18 years?
Yeah, and then Enrique Tarrio, leader of the Proud Boys, got 22 years for the same charge.
Seditious conspiracy, that's not like a slap on the wrist.
No, it is a very serious charge.
Very serious. And they're just out now.
Just like that.
It's kind of mind-boggling. But you know what else is mind-boggling?
Huh.
This executive order to shut down every single DEI and accessibility office in the entire executive branch.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I mean, talk about efficiency, right?
Streamlining the government.
Streamlining, yeah. So now all these employees are being put on leave, and they're expecting to be terminated. And there's even this memo going around encouraging people to report on each other, basically saying if you see anything that looks like a DEI program, report it.
Like a see something, say something, but for diversity initiatives.
Exactly. It's very Big Brother-ish, isn't it?
It's definitely a chilling effect.
Yeah. And what happened to all that small government talk? I thought Republicans were all about shrinking the government.
Well, it seems like they're very interested in shrinking certain parts of the government.
Right. The parts that don't fit their agenda. Okay, so let's move on to something a little lighter. How about this TikTok saga? Didn't Trump try to ban TikTok like a few years ago?
He did.
And now it seems like he's totally fine with Elon Musk buying it. What's going on here?
Well, Elon Musk was very prominently placed at the inauguration, along with some other tech giants.
I did notice that, yeah.
It seems like he's trying to make some friends in Silicon Valley.
So is Musk going to be the new Jared Kushner?
Well, I guess that remains to be seen.
Only time will tell. Okay, back to reality for a second. Remember, remain in Mexico? That lovely policy from the first term?
Oh, yes.
What's back?
Back by popular demand, apparently.
So asylum seekers are once again going to be stuck in Mexico while they wait for their cases to be processed in the U.S.
It's a controversial policy, to say the least.
Very controversial, and it seems like he's not really interested in learning from past mistakes. But you know what else is a blast from the past? This executive order restricting birthright citizenship.
Wow.
So now if you're born in America but your parents aren't citizens, you're not automatically a citizen anymore.
Isn't that like the whole point of the 14th Amendment?
You would think so, but apparently not.
18 states and the ACLU have already filed lawsuits against this executive order, so I think it's safe to say this is going to be challenged in court.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely headed for a legal battle.
Okay.
Let's take a break from the serious stuff for a second and just dive into some of the more bizarre things that happened on day one, like Trump revoking Secret Service protection for John Bolton, his former national security advisor.
Well, I guess we can't really be surprised by that, can we?
No, not really. The man holds a grudge like nobody else.
It's definitely a pattern of behavior.
And speaking of patterns, how about this infrastructure announcement? He suddenly cares about fixing roads and bridges.
Infrastructure Week is back.
Maybe someone finally explained to him that it's not just a meme.
Maybe so.
And speaking of things that are missing, remember how all the presidential bios disappeared from the White House website?
Oh, yeah. That was strange.
Very strange. Like they just vanished into thin air.
It makes you wonder what they're trying to hide.
Right. Like maybe they don't want us to read about all those past presidents who actually believed in democracy.
It's definitely a little Orwellian.
Okay. Moving on to some more appointments. Elise Stefanik, she's Trump's pick for UN ambassador.
That's a big job.
It is. And her confirmation hearing was interesting, to say the least. There was a lot of talk about Israel-Palestine, and Elon Musk made a hand gesture that some people thought looked like a Nazi salute.
It was a controversial hearing, for sure.
Yeah, and Stefanik called UN resolutions aimed at Israel anti-Semitic rot.
That's certainly a strong statement.
And then there was this prayer service at the National Cathedral, and this bishop actually had the audacity to ask Trump to show mercy for LGBTQ children and undocumented immigrants.
I can only imagine how well that went over.
Yeah, I'm sure the Trump loyalists were thrilled. And last but not least, we have to talk about the "you're fired" moment.
Oh, yes, this was a good one.
So Trump claims to have fired a bunch of Biden appointees, including celebrity chef Jose Andres.
Oh, really?
Yeah, except Andres had already resigned.
So he was firing people who had already quit.
Exactly. It's like he's living in an alternate reality.
It seems like he's creating his own narrative.
That's a good way to put it. So there you have it, folks. Just a small taste of the chaos that was day one of the Trump presidency 2.0.
It's only the beginning.
I know, and I'm already exhausted.
I think we all are. It's certainly been a busy first 48 hours.
Busy is an understatement. I mean, amidst all this chaos, he still found time to party it up.
Yeah.
3 inaugural balls to be exact.
Well, got to celebrate the second term somehow.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Trump event without some entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. We had Carrie Underwood singing America the Beautiful.
And there was a slight technical difficulty during her performance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the sound cut out for a few seconds, but she
No.
handled it like a pro, of course.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yeah, she just kept singing and the crowd cheered her on. It was actually kind of a nice moment.
A little bit of unity in these divisive times.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was the first couple's dance. They did a waltz to an Elvis Presley-style version of the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
An interesting choice.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Elvis would approve, but hey, it's their party.
I mean, it's quite a contrast, isn't it? All this talk about executive orders and pardons, and then they're off waltzing to Elvis.
Yeah, it's like they're living in a different world.
A world of their own making.
Exactly. And speaking of things that are a little out of touch, remember how Trump spent his entire first term trying to ban TikTok?
Oh, yes, that was a big one.
And now he's praising it, saying it's a valuable tool for connecting with young voters.
What a turnaround.
I know, right?
Mm.
It's like he completely forgot about all those rants about national security and Chinese spies.
It's almost as if his opinions are influenced by whoever he spoke to last.
That's a very good point. Have you heard about this proposed name change for the Gulf of Mexico?
The Gulf of America?
He can't be serious.
No, he's serious.
I thought that was a joke, like something out of The Onion.
I wish it were.
The Gulf of America? I mean, come on.
It's like he's trying to rewrite geography.
It's very strange. And it's not just the Gulf of Mexico. Remember his obsession with Greenland?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, he still wants to buy it, apparently.
I thought he had let that one go.
Nope, it's still on his mind.
It's so bizarre. I mean, what does he even want to do with Greenland?
Nobody knows.
Maybe he wants to build a giant ice hotel.
Trump Greenland, the ultimate Arctic getaway.
Only accessible by private jet, of course.
Naturally. But let's move on to something a little more down to earth, shall we? How about the economy?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about money.
Well, the stock market is having a bit of a meltdown.
Oh, no, down.
Yeah, some sectors are doing great, others are tanking. It's a lot of volatility.
So basically the usual Trumponomics chaos.
Pretty much.
I guess we should just buckle up and get ready for the ride.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so we've got pardons, executive orders, name changes, economic turmoil.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot to process.
And we're only 2 days in.
It feels like it's been a month already.
It does, doesn't it? But I think it's important to remember that this is just the beginning.
Oh, great.
We're in for a long 4 years.
I'm starting to think that bunker in my backyard isn't such a bad idea.
It might be a good investment.
So here we are, deep divers, at the end of our deep dive into, day 2 of the Trump presidency 2.0.
Oh.
I'm not sure if I should be laughing or crying at this point.
I think a little bit of both is probably appropriate.
Yeah, it's like a bad reality show that you just can't stop watching.
You should look away, but you just can't.
Exactly. But I think even amidst all the chaos, there's some important takeaways.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, first and foremost, Trump is clearly not messing around with this executive power thing. I mean, he's signing executive orders like they're going out of style.
He's not wasting any time.
No, he's
Yeah.
not. He's like a bull in a china shop just smashing through norms and precedents.
It's definitely a very bold approach to governing.
And then there's the fact that all of his favorite hits from the first term are back, immigration, nationalism, distrust of institutions, and of course the Twitter diplomacy.
It's like a greatest hits album, but with a new twist.
Trump 2.0, the remix.
And I think the influence of these tech giants like Elon Musk is something we really need to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's a whole new dynamic, and I'm not sure what it means for the future of politics.
It's uncharted territory.
And the thing is, we're only 2 days in.
Yeah, This is just the beginning.
So buckle up, deep divers, because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
I think that's an understatement.
But hey, at least we'll have plenty to talk about.
Oh, there will never be a shortage of material.
That's for sure. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But before we go, I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening.
And for joining us on this journey.
Yeah, and remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, stay sane, because we're going to need all the sanity we can get in the next 4 years.
And don't forget to laugh a little bit, too.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Laughter's the best medicine.
Absolutely.
Until next time, deep divers, stay curious.